Ladies and gentlemen, consider for a moment the final moments of your waking hours, the sacred threshold between today and tomorrow. What you do before you sleep is not merely habit, it is ritual. It shapes the unseen, sets the course of your rest, and influences the blessings meant for you. But many of us, without knowing, have erected barriers in the night, blocking the very gifts meant to reach us. Let us speak plainly. We carry the world's burdens into our beds. We scroll endlessly, feeding our minds with noise, fear, and comparison. We rehearse anxieties as though they were prayers, whispering doubts into the darkness. We entertain resentment, letting it fester rather than releasing it. We ignore gratitude, forgetting to acknowledge the mercies already given. And worst of all, we go to sleep with hearts so heavy that we leave no room for the grace that longs to enter. Blessings do not thrive in cluttered spaces, whether of the heart, mind, or soul. If you wish to receive them, you must first make room. Tonight, I urge you to consider what you carry into your rest. Replace worry with surrender. Trade bitterness for forgiveness. Let gratitude be your final thought. For the way you close your eyes tonight may shape the way you open them tomorrow. A nighttime routine is often dismissed as a simple habit, a series of actions performed mindlessly before bed. Yet it is far more than that. It is a ritual, a sacred transition between the waking world and the realm of rest, between today and tomorrow. The way we approach this time shapes not only the quality of our sleep, but the course of our lives. What we allow into our minds and hearts in these final moments does not simply vanish with the night. It settles within us, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and even the blessings we are able to receive. Consider how a ritual differs from a habit. A habit is automatic, something done without thought or intention. A ritual, on the other hand, is deliberate. It carries meaning. It acknowledges the weight of the moment and treats it with reverence. In this sense, our bedtime routine should not be a careless series of actions, but a mindful practice that prepares us for the unseen work of the night. Rest is not simply the absence of activity, it is a time of renewal, a process where our bodies repair, our minds process, and our souls find restoration. The way we enter into it matters, yet many of us treat the moments before sleep with carelessness, filling them with distractions and burdens that do not belong in the space of rest. We scroll through endless streams of information, consuming anxieties, comparisons, and fears. We replay the struggles of the day, rehearsing every mistake, every harsh word, every worry that lingers in the corners of our minds. We allow resentment to take root, refusing to release the weight of disappointment or frustration. Without realizing it, we are closing ourselves off, building barriers that prevent the peace and blessings meant to reach us. But what if we approach this time differently? What if we treated our nighttime routine as a sacred act, a moment of surrender rather than accumulation? Instead of filling our minds with the chaos of the world, we could quiet them. Instead of carrying our worries into sleep, we could lay them down. Instead of resentment, we could choose forgiveness. Instead of mindless distraction, we could embrace presence. These are not small shifts, they are acts of faith, choices that open the door for renewal. A ritual requires intention. It is not about perfection, but about awareness. It is about recognizing that the final moments of our waking hours are not insignificant, they are formative. The way we prepare for rest determines the kind of rest we receive, and the kind of rest we receive shapes the way we rise to meet the day ahead. If we truly understood the power of this time, we would guard it more carefully. We would be mindful of what we allow into our thoughts. We would choose stillness over noise, peace over turmoil, trust over fear. And in doing so, we would find that sleep is not merely a necessity, but a gift, a place where blessings can reach us, if only we make room. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the world slows and the distractions of the day fade, the mind becomes vulnerable. It is in this space that many unknowingly block the blessings meant for them, not through deliberate rejection, but by crowding their hearts with noise, fear, and anxiety. The final moments before sleep are sacred, a bridge between the known and the unknown, between conscious effort and the deep work of rest. Yet instead of treating this time with care, many fill it with worry, regret, and endless mental clutter, shutting themselves off from peace, renewal, and the unseen gifts waiting to unfold. The mind is not a passive container. It absorbs, processes, and carries forward what we allow into it. When we flood it with the noise of the world, scrolling through screens filled with negativity, consuming distressing news, engaging in mental battles over things beyond our control, we burden ourselves with unnecessary weight. The worries of the day should be left behind, yet too often they are rehearsed and magnified in the solitude of the night. The mind fixates on unfinished tasks, missed opportunities, words unspoken or spoken poorly, and the many unknowns that lie ahead. What should be a time of release becomes a time of entrapment, where anxieties replay in an endless cycle. Fear is a powerful force, and when allowed to take root before sleep, it lingers, shaping our dreams, our rest, and the way we wake. The unknown becomes a source of dread rather than anticipation. The heart clenches rather than opens. The spirit, instead of finding peace, grows restless, caught in a storm of imagined troubles. Anxiety whispers falsehoods, convincing us that we must remain in control, that we must hold on to every concern, that if we let go even for a moment things will unravel. But in truth, it is the holding on that does the most damage. Rest is not merely a physical necessity, it is a spiritual surrender, an act of trust that allows space for renewal. The blessings meant for us, clarity, healing, inspiration, divine guidance, cannot reach a heart that is closed. They cannot settle in a mind that is too full of distractions to receive them. Just as a clenched fist cannot grasp a gift, a soul burdened with worry cannot welcome peace. The habit of filling the mind with noise before bed, of carrying the weight of the day into sleep, creates a barrier between ourselves and the blessings awaiting us. Instead of allowing the night to restore, we fight against it, holding on to everything we were meant to release. But what if, in those final moments, we chose stillness? What if we surrendered our fears, trusted that what is beyond our control is in hands greater than our own? What if we quieted the noise, made room in our hearts, and welcomed the gift of rest? The blessings meant for us are never withheld, only crowded out. It is in the quiet, the surrender, and the release that they finally find their way through. The past is a place of lessons, but too often it becomes a prison. When we dwell on past hurts or resentments, we bind ourselves to moments that no longer exist, allowing them to shape our present and block the blessings meant for us. The pain may be real, the wounds deep, and the memories vivid, but to carry them into each night is to deny ourselves the grace and peace that are waiting to enter. The heart was not meant to bear the weight of old grievances indefinitely. When we refuse to release them, we do not punish those who have wronged us, we only imprison ourselves. Resentment is a slow poison, a fire that does not burn our enemies but consumes our own spirit. It whispers that justice will come only if we hold tightly to our bitterness, that letting go is the same as surrendering to defeat. But the truth is far different. Holding on does not bring resolution, it does not heal. It only deepens the wound, ensuring that the pain remains fresh long after the moment has passed. The mind replays offenses, searching for some way to undo the past, but there is no changing what has already been written. There is only the choice of what we will carry forward and what we will leave behind. At night, when the world is quiet and distractions fade, these unresolved hurts often rise to the surface. Instead of finding rest, we find ourselves in imagined arguments, reliving moments of betrayal, justifying our anger, or mourning what was lost. The body may be still, but the soul is restless, tangled in emotions that refuse to settle. In these moments, grace and peace stand at the door, waiting to enter, but the space is too crowded for them to step inside. The heart, clenched tightly around past wrongs, has left no room for the very things it longs for. Grace is the gift of release, the act of letting go, not because the past is forgotten, but because it no longer holds power over the present. It is not weakness, nor is it an excuse for wrongdoing, it is freedom. To extend grace, whether to ourselves or to those who have hurt us, is to make space for peace. Peace cannot thrive where resentment lingers. It cannot take root in a heart filled with anger or sorrow. It requires space and openness that can only come when the burdens of the past are finally set down. Each night offers a choice, to hold on to the past or to embrace the possibility of healing. Those who continue to dwell in old wounds will find that they shape their tomorrows, that their blessings remain just out of reach, blocked by walls of their own making. But those who choose to release will find that grace is not merely an idea, but a living presence, a force that fills the emptiness left behind by pain. And in that space, peace will finally have room to stay. The heart is a vessel, and what we choose to fill it with determines what flows into our lives. Gratitude and surrender create an openness that allows blessings to enter, while worry and bitterness close the doors, leaving little room for anything but unrest. Many seek peace, joy, and fulfillment, yet they unknowingly push these very things away by clinging to negativity, by allowing anxiety to dictate their thoughts, and by holding tightly to past wounds. Blessings cannot thrive in a heart that is preoccupied with fear and resentment. They require space, a posture of openness that only gratitude and surrender can provide. Gratitude is more than a polite acknowledgement of what is good. It is an active choice to recognize the abundance already present, even in the midst of struggle. A grateful heart does not wait for perfect circumstances to give thanks, but finds something to appreciate in every moment. It shifts focus from what is lacking to what is given, from what is lost to what remains. And in doing so, it invites more goodness in. When gratitude takes root, the soul becomes a place of welcome, a space where blessings are not merely hoped for but expected. Surrender, too, is an act of trust. It is the willingness to release control, to acknowledge that some things are beyond human grasp. It is not passivity or resignation, but an active decision to place burdens where they belong into hands greater than our own. Those who fight against surrender live in a state of tension, constantly trying to force outcomes, to manipulate circumstances, to hold on to fears as if worrying about them will change their course. But surrender frees the soul from this exhausting battle. It creates space for blessings to unfold in ways beyond what we can orchestrate. Worry, on the other hand, is a thief. It robs the present of its peace and the future of its possibilities. It masquerades as responsibility, convincing us that if we just think hard enough, stress enough, plan enough, we can prevent hardship. But in reality, worry does nothing to change tomorrow. It only drains today. A mind preoccupied with anxiety cannot recognize the gifts already present, nor can it receive new blessings when they arrive. Bitterness is equally destructive. It binds a person to the past, turning wounds into chains that restrict movement forward. Those who hold on to resentment believe they are protecting themselves, guarding against further harm, but in truth they are building walls that keep out not only pain but also joy, love, and healing. Bitterness creates a hardened heart, resistant to grace, and incapable of fully experiencing the beauty that life still offers. To choose gratitude is to invite abundance. To choose surrender is to open the way for unexpected blessings. Those who cultivate these qualities will find that peace follows them, that doors open in ways they never imagined, and that life, despite its struggles, is rich with quiet miracles waiting to be embraced. The way we end our day is not merely a routine, it is a transition, a bridge between all that has passed and all that is to come. Yet so many approach this time without thought, treating it as nothing more than the last few moments before sleep. In doing so, they miss something profound. Nighttime is not just about rest, it is about renewal. It is a sacred pause, an opportunity to set down burdens, quiet the mind, and make space for the unseen mercies that long to enter. A peaceful, mindful nighttime routine is not about rigid rituals or forced discipline. It is about creating an atmosphere where the soul can breathe, where the heart can soften, and where grace can settle. Each night carries with it the residue of the day. The conversations had, the emotions felt, the worries faced. These do not simply vanish the moment we close our eyes. If left unattended, they weave themselves into our rest, shaping our dreams and weighing upon us even as we sleep. This is why the way we prepare for sleep matters. A mind filled with chaos and distraction will struggle to find peace, while a heart filled with gratitude and intention will welcome rest with ease. The unseen mercies of life, clarity, renewal, and even answers to prayers do not arrive in noise and restlessness. They come in stillness, in surrender, in the quiet spaces we create before we let go of the day. There is something deeply restorative about approaching the night with mindfulness. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through endless distractions, instead of replaying mistakes or worrying about the unknown, imagine a routine that invites peace. A moment of stillness, a deep breath, a whispered prayer of thanks. These small acts are not insignificant. They are invitations. They are signals to the soul that it is safe to release, that it is time to trust, that whatever is unsettled will be tended to in ways beyond human striving. When we cultivate a nighttime routine rooted in peace, we begin to experience rest not as an escape but as a gift. The body unwinds, the mind quiets, and the heart opens. In this space, unseen mercies move freely. They come in the form of unexpected comfort, in the easing of burdens, in the gentle reassurance that we are held even in the unknown. The deepest forms of renewal happen not in the noise of constant thinking, but in the surrender of stillness. Those who rush to bed with minds full of distractions rarely find the rest they seek. But those who approach the night with intention, who make space for quiet, for gratitude, for letting go, will find that sleep itself becomes a blessing. Their dreams are lighter, their burdens less oppressive, their mornings filled with more clarity and purpose. The unseen mercies of the night do not force their way, and they wait for an open heart, a willing spirit, and the quiet invitation of a soul prepared to receive. The closing moments of a day are not merely an ending, they are a prelude to what comes next. The way we choose to end today does not disappear into nothingness, it lingers, carrying its weight into the morning, shaping the way we rise and meet the new day. Many treat bedtime as an afterthought, a moment of exhaustion where the body simply gives in, but in reality these final moments hold power. They determine whether we wake with clarity or confusion, with peace or tension, with openness or resistance. The mind is never truly still. Even in sleep it continues to process, to sort, to arrange the fragments of the day into patterns that influence tomorrow. If we fall asleep burdened by worry, resentment, or unresolved tension, these emotions do not fade, they weave themselves into the fabric of our rest. We may wake feeling heavy, restless, already exhausted before the day has begun. Not because of physical fatigue, but because our hearts never truly let go of yesterday. The burdens we refuse to release at night become the obstacles we face in the morning. But just as negative emotions carry forward, so do peace and gratitude. A person who ends their day with intentional stillness, with a heart softened by thankfulness, will wake with a lighter spirit. When we take time to reflect, to acknowledge what went well, to recognize even the smallest blessings, we set a tone of abundance rather than lack. A simple habit of surrender, letting go of the need to control what is already behind us, creates the space for a more restful sleep and a more hopeful awakening. The closing of a day is much like the closing of a book. If we shut it abruptly mid-thought, with pages bent and sentences unfinished, we return to it with frustration, with a sense of disorder. But if we close it with care, marking the place we left off, acknowledging the chapter's end, we approach the next with readiness. This is why it matters how we transition from wakefulness to sleep. Those final moments are not simply about physical rest, but about preparing the heart and mind to receive what the next day has to offer. Some may wonder why their mornings feel rushed, why they wake with a sense of unease, as though they are already behind before the day has even begun. The answer often lies in the night before. A mind that was filled with chaos, a heart that was burdened with regret, a spirit that never truly settled, these do not dissolve with sleep. They follow us, shaping our first thoughts, our first actions, our very posture toward the day ahead. But when we choose to close today with care, with stillness, with release, with gratitude, we give ourselves the gift of a fresh beginning. We wake not with the weight of unfinished worries, but with the lightness of possibility. The way we end today is not just about finding rest, it is about setting the foundation for what comes next.